Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
It's The In Show, Australia's only show dedicated to innovation from Adelaide, Australia and across the globe.
Hi, it's David Grice and Troy Sincock, and it was day 2 of Hybrid World Adelaide, an exciting new technology festival for South Australia at the Tonsley Innovation Precinct. After last night's official launch and party, today was the first full day of activity. And the day was split into 4 parts: digital substitution, digital infusion, digital augmentation, and digital transformation. The conference looked at topics like blockchain, how the future of agriculture is being affected by technology, industry in outer space, and ways of fostering innovation. Plus, there was a presentation from futurist lecturer and science party member Meow Ludo Disco Gamma Meow Meow, part of the new body hacking movement, who implanted a Sydney travel chip in his arm, and drone racers from around the country competed in Drone Zone. David, who'd you speak with at Hybrid World Adelaide today?
Well, today's been such an insightful and interesting day, and it's been all about genomes, kids coding, drone flying, blockchain, software design society, the vaporized university, and the road to Industry 4.0. I'm joined now by Professor Hiroshi Ishiguro, who directs the Intelligent Robotics Laboratory in the Department of Systems Innovation at the Osaka University. Welcome to the In Show, Hiroshi. What motivated you to enter the world of robotics?
Well, it's a little bit a long story. Originally, I wanted to be an artist and I wanted to be oil painter, but I gave up to be a professional oil painter. Then move on to the area of artificial intelligence and robotics. So, but again, I'm doing the same things as the oil painters. I try to represent the humanity on the canvas, but now I'm trying to represent the humanity on the robot. So I think I'm doing the same things.
So you created a replica of yourself that I was able to see last night for the first time. It brings an entirely new meaning to being in 2 places at once. Apart from the wow factor of that, what made you actually go down that path?
Well, my motivation in robotics is to understand humans. So I want to represent the humanity with the robot technologies. But that means I want to understand what human is. And so that is the reason why I'm creating a very human-like robot. But sometimes, of course, the human-like robot can be a practical solutions for providing various services instead of humans. So, and especially in Japan, we need to have more robots because of our hyper-aging societies. So I want to contribute to the Japanese society too.
And last night you talked about how, the preserving of life in terms of, people that have passed on, but you're able to continue to preserve the being of those people and things like that. Are you seeing other practical applications for this human robotics sort of scenario?
Yeah, we can consider the many applications, right? So, for example, the receptionist, that works is very simple. It's easy to replace a robot, and the some tour guide need to speak in many languages, but it is difficult for the the humans, right? But the robot can handle the more than 50 or the many languages, right? And newscasters, TV hosts, and the idol singers, right? So there are many possibilities.
Did you ever imagine when you were a young boy that this would be the journey that you took in your career?
No, never ever, right? So when I was young, I wanted to be a painter. So I would love to paint something, right? And so therefore, I try to be a professional oil painter, right?
Yeah, it's a really fascinating story because I would imagine that, like you said before, it's taking that image on a canvas and making it human-like. You must get a huge amount of satisfaction when you see the results of the work that you're doing.
Not yet. And still I'm looking for the more fundamental the aspect of humans. So my motivations again is to understand humans, but it's simply say to understand myself. I'm always trying to represent myself on the campus or on the robots, but still I don't know myself. The many things. For example, the consciousness was solved, right? But for example, I believe I have a consciousness, but I cannot prove that, right? and I believe I have intelligence, but I don't know what intelligence is, right? I cannot clearly define the intelligence and the emotions. Everything's are unclear.
And it's really interesting too that technology now is giving us the capabilities to be able to do these things. I mean, if we were 5 or 10 years ago, it was a lot more difficult to do what we are able to do now with technology. What do you see are the biggest barriers for you sort of moving your work forward?
So many barriers we have. Well, one of the big challenges is the consciousness, right? And so if we can prove the existence of a consciousness, the robot, we can totally change the inside mechanism, or that we can make the robot so human-like. So I'm tackling to that very difficult issues now.
So moving on to Hybrid World, what are some of the inspiring things that you're looking forward to over the next few days, or what have you already seen that's inspired you?
Well, the last night I gave a talk and I could meet many interesting people. Everybody are doing different things. So the merit of this kind of interdisciplinary event is to meet totally different people coming from different areas. I'm enjoying the conversation with many kind of people.
And one final question: what do you see as the future of robotics in the line of work that you're in now?
Technology development is a kind of exponential, right? We can quickly change this world as the smartphone changes this, our lifestyle. So near future, I believe, robot can change our lifestyle again, like a smartphone. So that is my guess.
So Robert Tercek joins me now. And now Robert, amongst many other things, is one of the creative directors of Hybrid World Adelaide. Firstly, congratulations, Robert, on a wonderful event so far. You must be absolutely thrilled.
I'm very excited because this is an opportunity to bring some of the smartest people in the world that I've ever encountered to South Australia, and for people in South Australia to make contact with them. The other thing that's cool about Hybrid World, and particularly the conference, is that we're elevating some of the great innovative talent here in South Australia and presenting it on a world stage.
So what's the heart behind this year's program?
So the program is, the concept of Hybrid World is that this is not about digital disruption. This is not about purely digital innovation. Rather, it's about the infusion of digital technology into everyday life. And that could be your pharmaceuticals, your healthcare, the food that we eat, transportation in our towns, the way our cities are managed and governed with smart cities. And so what we're trying to do is find examples of digital technology infused in day-to-day living. This is not about replacing things or inventing some futuristic world. It's about practical stuff that's happening right now.
So last night I heard you speak about what's next after next. Now, I love that concept. Can you explain what that means to you?
Sure. So this, I think, is the frame of mind that a great innovator must bring. Many people think about what's next. Some people are perplexed. Some people are confused. Some people have no vision for what's next. Some people are preposterous in their notions. But I think there's actually a very reasonable methodology to be an innovator. And it's to think about what comes next after what's next. Here, for example, in Adelaide, we know what's next. What's next is the gig city, the smart city. That program's underway now. They're rolling out the super high-speed network, and that means that South Australia, and particularly the region around Adelaide, will be connected to the world's fastest internet. So that's what's next. What's next after that is where it gets really interesting, because the question then is, well, what does that fast network enable? What new things can we do now that we couldn't do before? And what we're learning about today and over the course of Hybrid World Conference and Festival is that it's bringing tremendous numbers of changes. One simple example, but a good one, is that you'll be able to have high-speed internet into the home, which means much better, higher-resolution movies on demand, much better game experiences for those who want to be gamers. It means people at home can be professional gamers because you won't have that latency that you currently have in the network. Simple consumer proposition there, but that's a high-value one for a lot of people. Now, it gets much more interesting when we start to apply that to the idea of a smart city that can actually, where the city can track emissions and noises and traffic patterns and so forth, sensors placed around the city, gather that information. That will help city planners improve day-to-day life, just your transport to and from work. It gets more interesting when we start to get into things like agriculture and pharmaceuticals. We had some great examples here of companies in South Australia that are already using digital technology to improve their businesses. One terrific example came to us from Treasury Wines. They're already using digital technology in every possible way. In fact, they're demanding more. They're ready to invest in more digital technology because they found it improves yields, it improves their ability to manage their crops and to grow the wines that people want to pay for. So these are practical applications of technologies in businesses today. This is not some science fiction program from the future. These are operating businesses today, in some cases the leading companies in South Australia.
And also with Treasury Wines last night, we saw how they're using augmented reality in their wine labels and so forth. And that's also about consumer engagement, isn't it, with the product?
That's exactly right. You know, what I like to say is marketing is technology. And in many ways, technology today is like magic. And if you can bring that magic, if you can really give someone a transformative experience, that's really powerful. And the augmented reality example we saw last night was a good example of that, where the wine bottle comes to life and it begins to tell you a little narrative, a little story. That's kind of a neat idea, right? It feels like a magic trick.
And that technology also has got a lot of applications across, multiple industries. And I see it especially around the music industry where, you can bring band posters to life so you can actually understand what the band's going to play before you even go into the event, especially when you've never heard them before. So it gives you an idea of what they're going to do and therefore gives you the ability to potentially go and purchase a ticket to go in. So there's a massive opportunity through those types of technology around the marketing space for sure.
I think that's true. One way to think about it is this. There's almost like an invisible cloud of data that surrounds every physical product, whether it's a poster or a bottle of wine or anything else you might think of. That invisible data hasn't been accessible to us in the past. So you might think of it as like data smog. It's just something that's dissipated into the atmosphere and we haven't been able to capture it. What's changing now, thanks to sensors, augmented reality, and even the smartphone in your pocket, we're able to start to capture some of that data, gather it, harvest it, if you will, and turn it into something that's useful. And in many cases, you're absolutely right. It's all about marketing. It's about helping people understand the product, get the benefits, visualize it perhaps in a way that they couldn't before.
So what are the highlights for you at Hybrid World this week?
Well, what I'm really excited about right now today is the conference, because we have curated a collection of speakers from around the world and also from around Australia who are absolute experts in what they're doing. They're not just futurists. They're not just people who talk about what's coming. They're actually practitioners. They're people who do this for a living. They are literally inventing the future every single day. We have experts here from the fields of synthetic biology, blockchain for agriculture, blockchain for the supply chain, the ability to apply artificial intelligence to real-world problems. You'll see some examples this afternoon of that, of companies right here in Adelaide that are doing that. And later on today, we're going to have a very exciting company called Titomic, which is one of the leaders in 3D printing, and it's an amazing business. It is another Australian success story that many people haven't heard about. We're excited to showcase them here. And there's also a space company here. So people don't know that Adelaide is one of the leading places for space-based technologies. There are actually 8 or 9 startup companies. I was surprised to learn this, based in Adelaide. And we're going to have one of the leading companies here today. The founder of it will be speaking to us about Fleet, which is a space company.
Well, day 2 is done and dusted, and I'm off now to explore what's happening at the Hybrid World Adelaide lab over the next 2 days, and I'll be back with more tomorrow.
Thanks, David. Hybrid World Adelaide is now in full swing, and that was the In-Show podcast from the Tonsley Innovation Precinct. The In-Show is a Hybrid World Adelaide media partner. Subscribe on iTunes and check out the inshow.online. More inspiring minds and innovation from the Technology Festival again tomorrow on the In-Show.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.